As you may have noticed, commercial real estate is changing as more employers embrace a work-from-home hybrid model. A growing number of companies are not renewing their leases. That's leaving empty office space, and surrounding businesses that rely on those nearby workers are starting to feel the impact. What does this mean for the future of downtowns and cities across the country? In tonight's Prime Focus, Alexis Christoforous travels to Boston to see how some empty real estate is finding new life and how businesses are adapting to the changes.
When Dave Savoy bought his favorite bar and grill in downtown Boston, it was a dream come true.
This was home for everyone, and it didn't matter where you worked, what you did, who you were. It was such a melting pot. I fell in love with the place.
A neighborhood mainstay, Silvertone has been compared to that other Boston bar
Sometimes you wanna go
where everyone knew your name.
You got a beer and a shot for $9. You don't see them on the wall, but a lot of Best of Boston awards.
A hit with the business crowd, office workers made up 50% of Savoy's customers. But all that changed with the COVID-19 pandemic.
I used to call them suits, the office guys, the finance guys and everything, and this was their place.
And not anymore.
They still work from home. If people come to the city now, they work maximum 3 days a week.
It proved too much for Silvertone, and after 27 years, 8 of those years with Savoy as owner, the bar announced last call in May.
I'd imagine it was emotional to lock this place up and give it up. It's hard to talk about.
You feel like a failure, you know?
To your employees?
I had like 30 staff before we closed, and then you reopen with like 12 people. You can't give them enough hours.
Across the country, once bustling business districts have become ghost towns. The pandemic proving many jobs can be done remotely.
This is a nail in the coffin for that very traditional, very business office-centric neighborhood.
Office vacancies in the U.S. are at a 30-year high. More than 900 million square feet of office space empty, enough to fill New York City's One World Trade Center 300 times. Amazon, Citigroup, Walmart, and UPS among the major companies now requiring employees spend more time in the office. Some companies pulling out all the stops to entice workers back to the office.
Things that get employees out of their sweatpants, get on the train, and come into the city. Anything from massage rooms, healthcare on site, personal gym opportunities.
Most experts agree hybrid and remote work is here to stay.
Companies don't need office space in the way that they needed office space 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. Remote work has just transformed that landscape.
From Boston to Austin to Chicago, major cities across the country reporting at or near record levels of empty offices. For example, in San Francisco, more than 22% of offices are vacant, compared with just about 9% in 2019. Some cities now in danger of falling into what's called the economic doom loop, when high vacancies send property values plummeting, leaving cities with less tax revenue for things like schools, police, and sanitation, making them less desirable to live in. Would you consider the high vacancy rates here in Boston at crisis mode right now?
Boston is closer to crisis mode than other cities because it is so dependent on taxes from commercial real estate, much more than most other cities, twice as dependent as virtually any other city in the country.
Evan Horowitz of the Center for State Policy Analysis at Tufts researched the fiscal fallout of Boston's empty offices.
Office buildings are much, much less valuable than they used to be. So this part of the city that has been a golden goose for the city for 2 decades is now gone.
Hello, Mayor Wu.
Hello.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, who is up for re-election next year, knows there's a lot at stake.
We are at a true inflection point in our national economy.
Mayor Wu stepping in with tax breaks and zoning changes to replace unwanted office space with much-needed housing.
We have about 500 housing units that are now in the pipeline to be converted out of formerly vacant office buildings. And we're taking city buildings like libraries that need renovations and adding housing on top of that and improving our processes, making it faster than ever before, more predictable than ever before to get your building built and to get those shovels in the ground. The more that downtown is a residential, thriving, busy neighborhood, just like every other one of our neighborhoods, the more everyone benefits.
It's already being done in cities like Cleveland, where 11% of office inventory is currently being converted into housing. Similar conversions are happening in Cincinnati, Houston, and New York, where the landmark Flatiron office building will soon be luxury condos.
This is a challenge that's affecting every city in America, and in Boston, we're showing that it's also an opportunity.
An opportunity David Graney is seizing on.
We're very thoughtful investors.
His real estate investment firm Synergy has bought 35 properties in the greater Boston area, 4 of them in just the past 12 months.
You're one of the only real estate firms buying up buildings when others are looking to get out of the market.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who say, Dave Graney's crazy?
Great, keep saying it because it means I can continue to buy the buildings with less competition.
Graney says the worst is over in terms of office vacancies, and he's positive about the future of cities.
Will downtown office areas in cities across the country really ever be the same, or are they changed forever?
The great thing about cities is that cities evolve, right? You may see more residential uses, more hospitality, more institutional uses, but the office component of downtowns, I believe, will continue to be a very big factor.
I mean, I have to think this is one of the favorites of the portfolio.
Business districts of the future reimagined as 24/7 neighborhoods where people will work, live, eat, and play.
There are lots of ways to build a vibrant downtown that doesn't involve the central role of office buildings. It could be apartments. It could be lab space. It could be, there are lots of other things you can do with land that makes people want to go downtown and enjoy themselves.
Working out of the same building Graney recently bought, brothers Michael and Emilio Ruggieri are betting on a comeback for Boston's downtown.
Have a good afternoon, man.
For 3 decades, they've been serving up breakfast and lunch to the office crowd.
Thank you.
Office workers were a big part of your business. How big?
75, 80%,
And now?
maybe 50.
Maybe 50. So then how do you make up for that lost revenue, for those lost sales?
We've been doing more deliveries, or the construction guys have actually kept us going.
They've also reduced their staff, trimmed their menu, and shortened their hours to make ends meet, confident things will turn around.
I'm an eternal optimist, and the buildings are way too expensive to just stay empty, so someone's going to take over the space, so we're hopeful.
Holding on to hope. Our thanks to Alexis Christoforous for that.